hesitant to take this role again? Or I think, is it the seventh time?
Yeah, this was, I think, my seventh appearance as Charles. One of them was very, very brief. And of course, I was vaporized by Jean Grey, which was very uncomfortable. I don't recommend it. It was, actually. What they did to me was, yeah, they set up a blaster because they wanted my face to be subject to the stuff that Jean Grey was pounding at me. And so they set up a huge nozzle at the end of I don't know how they did it, some generator that was generating strong wind, and they held the nozzle about this far away from my face while the camera did a close-up. So my face was doing this, and I remember the director saying to me, "Open your eyes! Don't close your eyes!" Unpleasant. However, not only did I not die, but I actually came back to life in that movie. And then at the end of, I think, Days of Future Past, you saw the first moments of Magneto and Charles Xavier and the body of Logan being devoured by creatures. But obviously it turned out happily, because here we still, well, some of us, meaning Hugh and myself, are the only ones who are left.
Last one for you, right?
Well, I had no thought of that. I was aware Hugh was on record of having said, "This will be my last appearance as Wolverine." I saw no reason to make a statement like that. I was still enjoying the role, and you know, we have new people coming in all the time, and terrific people, including young and very gorgeous James McAvoy, who plays the young one. I told him it's the most flattering thing that's ever happened when James was cast as the young Charles. And yet something happened, and it all came to a head at the Berlin Film Festival, where I think you and I saw the film for the first time with an audience, not just a screening room, but a big theatre. And Hugh and I were sitting side by side, and James Mangold was on the other side of Hugh, and Sunny, my wife, was sitting on my right-hand side. And I, as I had just now, actually, from the projection room, I watched the last 20 minutes of the movie, and everything that I felt in that Berlin cinema, I felt again just now, how very emotional it made me feel. And I was, there were tears in my eyes, but I didn't, want to show any of this. And then I saw Hugh's hand come up and go. And I thought, damn it, if Hugh Jackman can wipe away a tear, then so can I. And shortly after that, around the scene when he and Laura have Daphne Keane are having their final conversation, I felt a hand reach over and take mine, and it was Hugh's hand. And he squeezed my hand, and we held hands for the rest of the movie, including all the way through the credits. But the credits here are so long as they are with movies like this, that as we sat there holding hands, I thought there can be no better way to say au revoir to this franchise than what I've just witnessed for the last 2.25 hours. I love Charles's role in this movie, and he ends badly, but not unhappily. He ends in the arms of the man that he's cared for all of these years. And I thought, yep, I'm going to join Hugh. And the next morning there was a press conference after the movie, and I was asked about this, and I said, actually, I can tell you now for the first time, I'm finished too. I'm done with this, and it feels entirely appropriate. It doesn't mean to say there have not been murmurs of something else, but I can't see it quite making sense.
Well, it's interesting. This is 17 years of your life, but I think initially you turned the role down.
Yeah, I did turn it down because it was at a time when I was struggling with the legacy of Star Trek The Next Generation, which was a great experience for me. It changed every corner of my life. Nothing was untouched by coming to Hollywood in 1987, something I'd never planned to do. I had no ambitions to be here and to be doing the kind of work that I've done in recent years. But flukes, complete random chances led me onto a platform in Royce Hall at UCLA one night, reading extracts of drama to illustrate a professor's lecture, and signed up for the course of lectures was one of the producers of Star Trek The Next Generation, who allegedly turned to his wife. She swore it was true at some point during this academic evening, and he said, "We found the captain." And everything changed from that moment on. But I found in time that there was a downside to that kind of notoriety. I mean, given that unless you went to the Royal Shakespeare Company or you watched obscure drama on BBC Two, you had no idea who Patrick Stewart was. And in the space of a few months, all of that changed when Next Generation, the TV series, came out. And I couldn't believe it at first, and then I gradually, of course, had to accept it. Having been told by my agent, friends who worked in the industry, I had a few friends here who all said to me, "You don't have to worry at all about taking on this job because it's not going to make it. You will Everybody in Hollywood, which bears out William Goldman's famous comment that in Hollywood nobody knows anything about anything. And they all said, "You'll be lucky to make it through the first season. You cannot revive an iconic series like the original Star Trek." Well, 7 years later, another further 5 or 6 years with 4 movies, they were all proved to be somewhat wrong. But there was a downside to it, which was that I became so identified with that character. The kind of work I wanted to go on and do was not coming my way. And until one day a director I'd been campaigning to meet because there was a role in a movie he was directing I wanted very badly. And he said to me, "Look, we talked, it was very pleasant," and he said, You're great, I love what you do, you're a terrific actor, but why would I want Jean-Luc Picard in my movie?" It was hurtful, it was painful. And so when this offer of yet another, this time comic book, fantasy franchise came up, I thought, I have already one albatross around my neck. Why would I take a second? So I turned it down. And then Brian Singer took me out to lunch. Smooth talking.
What did he say to change your mind?
Well, he told me how different the experience would be from the experience I'd had on Next Generation, of which he was a fan, by the way, and that he had a strong conviction that the kind of films that he wanted to make, because at that point there was only just one X-Men movie, though there were many indications that it had a potential for a little more. Nobody ever dreamed that it would become the immense franchise that it is now, with multiple casts and so forth. And I would say on the whole, Brian was right, that if anything, being in X-Men helped to unravel some of the restrictions that had wrapped around me after Star Trek.
A last question for me, then we're going to turn to yours. Was it a difficult shoot? I know you shot in unbelievable heat.
Louisiana. I had never been in the Deep South before, and I was a little uneasy about it to begin with, but very quickly found that it was a delightful place with most delightful people that I met everywhere, both in rural Louisiana as well as in New Orleans. You hear I learned to say that. And yes, but then we moved up to northern Louisiana to the Mississippi border. We were based in Natchez, and the heat became intense and the humidity. And of course, Daphne and Hugh and myself, we were stuck in that nasty old truck for day after day after day, shooting all the interiors of that, and driving up and down and up and down the highway. It was a little uncomfortable. But we had fun. We couldn't get out of the vehicle because there were cameras and there was structures lashed all the way around the truck. So there was no exit for us. And we'd try and open the windows and find that they didn't work. And so we had to entertain ourselves, and for days and days, Hugh and Daphne and myself, we sang songs, we played games, we played word games, we did drawings, we did all kinds of caricatures and things. And she's a remarkable child, and we had a lot of fun.
Good. Questions from the audience? Yes. Just speak loud and not try to. Go ahead.
So, Mr. Stewart, I guess as a comic nerd and a Shakespeare nerd, I'm kind of curious, is there a Shakespearean role you haven't had a chance to play yet that you would love to play?
Oh, I love that. Is there a Shakespearean role that you haven't played that you would love to?
Oh, there are several, but I never will, because I'm now just maybe a little too mature for these roles. I never played Hamlet. I never played Romeo, which I really wanted. I never played Benedict in Much Ado About Nothing. I never played Orlando in As You Like It. I was, as a teacher said to me on my final night at school, at acting school, after the final the presentation performances we gave for agents and managers, and everybody, it seemed, in my year had got somebody or a job, and I had nothing at all. I was sitting alone in the theatre looking at the stage thinking, well, that's it, it's over. You know, I've been taught for 2 years and now I have nothing to do. And one of the teachers came out and said, why are you sitting out here? Why aren't you in the party? And I said, I'm not feeling great. And he said, oh, I know what's going on. Look, can I speak frankly? By the way, when anybody says that to you, do say no. It doesn't lead to anything. And he said, it's going to be very hard for you for the next 20 years. I was 19. He said, you're a character actor, you're not a juvenile, you'll never be a juvenile. And so it's going to be a bit of a struggle, but you know, it will come around in the end. And, he was wrong. It didn't turn out quite like that, largely because I went and bought myself, had made the most expensive hairpiece well, I spent everything I had on this thing. And as a result, I used to sell myself to regional theatre directors as 2 actors for the price of 1. And it worked again and again. They got it. Oh my Lord, we have a juvenile and we have a character actor. All in service. And he has his own hairpiece. That's I used to wear the hairpiece to auditions. And then I would take it, usually you do 2 pieces in an audition. I would wear the hairpiece, then I would take it off while I was telling them what the second piece was that I would do. And I did one afternoon audition for Laurence Olivier at the National Theatre, which he was running in those days. And I was rather cheeky and began my audition with a soliloquy from Henry V, which of course had been one of his most famous roles. And then, I can't remember what the second role was, but as I was talking to him, I was easing the thing off my head, and I'm clipping at the back all the time while I talked to him, and then I put it down by the floor. And I said, I prepared myself to do my second piece, and he said, do it again. And I said, I'm sorry, do you want me to do the Henry V again? No. Put it on and take it off. This really happened. So I did, and I took it off. And he said, marvelous.